In this video, we are going to look at ordering non-benchmark fractions, decimals, and percents. So our objective is going to be, I will order a set of rational numbers arising from mathematical and real-world contexts, and our learning target is ordering fractions, decimals, and percents on a number line. So first, if we're looking at these, we have three fractions, decimals, and percents here. 1%, 1 decimal, and 1 fraction. So if we are asked to order these or put them in order, given a number line, we know that on this number line, moving from left to right, it's moving from least to greatest. So this will help us, even if we're not given a number line, we can always draw one to use to put these rational numbers in order. So we're going to go ahead and have our number line here, and we are going to put, because we notice all of these are positive, we don't have any negatives here, so we can stay completely in the positive side of the number line here. So we're going to start with 0, because we know we're going to have nothing negative over here. And then we're going to go to 1, because none of these are greater than 1 whole. So we're going to go from 0 to 1 on our number line. And we're going to go ahead and mark off our 1/2, because that is a good marker. It's a good benchmark to have, because we know exactly where that 1/2 is, and it helps us place the other rational numbers on the number line. So if we look at 68% first, if we want to order these, we need to think about what benchmarks we know that they are close to, and we also need to think about their other forms, their equivalent forms. So if we know 68% is 68/100ths, we know that decimal form is 0.68. If we go ahead and write that there, it's easier to compare to the others if we get those in decimal form also. So if we know 68% and 68/100ths, we know that's pretty close to 75/100ths, which is 3/4. So if we know 3/4 or 75/100ths is about right here between 1/2 and 1, then 68/100ths would be pretty close to that also. So we can put that one right there, 68% on our number line. Got it. Then the next one we have 43/100ths. So that one is already in decimal form. We don't really need to change it. It wouldn't help us much to put it in percent form or fraction form. But what we do know about 43/100ths is that it is less than 1/2, because 1/2 right here is 50 over 100, or 50/100ths. So 43/100ths is less than 50/100ths, so it'd be a little bit less than that 1/2. So we'll put it about right here on our number line. And then we have 10 over 20, or 10/20ths. If we know this fraction, we know that 10/20ths simplifies to 1/2. 10 divided by 10 is 1, 20 divided by 10 is 2. So that is equivalent to 1/2. So it would go, we're just going to put that right under that 1/2 marker. It goes right there. So then we see these in order from least to greatest. Least is 43/100ths, then 10 over 20, then 68%. Those are in order on our number line. The next one we're going to look at, we have 4 fractions, decimals, and percents here. We have negative 4.03, or negative 4 3/100ths, 8%, 8 over 12, and 48/100ths. So we want to put these in order from least to greatest on our number line. So if we can notice here, we do have a negative, so we cannot stay completely in that 0 to 1 range. Again, here on our number line, we need to be able to mark a negative. So we're going to go ahead and put 0 here in the middle, because we know if we have negatives, we need some space over here, and we need some space for our positives. So put 0 in the middle. Let's go ahead and mark our 1, because none of these positives are going to be greater than 1. And then that negative 4 3/100ths, that is our only negative here. So we know it's going to be the only number on this side of 0. So we're just going to put it as far over here as we can, negative 4 3/100ths. That's the only negative, it's the only one that's going to be on this side. So that one's already gotten out of the way. Then if we have 8% here, we know that is the same as 8/100ths. So that is equivalent to 8/100ths. Forgot, we're going to go ahead and mark our 1/2 there. We know this is equivalent to 8/100ths, which that is pretty small, right? If we know 1/2 is 50/100ths, 8/100ths would be pretty close to this 0 here. So we're going to go ahead and put that marker there for 8%. Then if we're looking at 8 over 12, we notice this fraction can be simplified. So if we think about what can we divide both 8 and 12 by, I know I can divide both of those by 4. So 8 divided by 4 is 2, and 12 divided by 4 is 3. So we know this is equivalent to 2/3. And we know 2/3 is one of our benchmark fractions, and that as a decimal, its decimal equivalent is 0.66 repeating. So that would be greater than 1/2. And we know also half of 12 is 6. If we have 8/12, that's greater than 1/2. So we know that's going to go over here somewhere, a little less than 3/4. So it would go about right there. We're going to put 8/12 there on our number line. Lastly, we have 48/100, which we know, again, that 1/2 is 50/100. 48 is less than that, so it goes a little bit to the left of that 1/2, a little less than that, right there on our number line. So now we have these in order from least to greatest: -4 3/100, 8%, 48/100, and 8/12. That is that correct order. Next, we're going to look at a word problem here. So this problem says the students in Mrs. Revis's class must complete 40 practice problems for the unit they are working on each week. The table below shows the amount of required work that each student has completed by Thursday. So we have our student names here: David, Alyssa, Carmen, and Marcus. And the amount completed: David has done 55%, Alyssa has done 3/8, Carmen has done 25/100, and Marcus has done 95%. So the question asks us to list the names of the students in order of who has completed the least amount of work to who has completed the most. So first we want to look at these rational numbers. If we want to put these in order from least to greatest, we need to be able to compare them. We need them in the same form. So the most simple form we can put them in is decimal form. So if we start with 55%, we know that 55% is the same as 55/100. So in decimal form, we got 55/100. The next one, if we look at 3/8, the eighths are a little bit more tricky to put into decimal form. But if we did 3 divided by 8, because remember that fraction bar is really just the same thing as a division symbol. So 3/8 is the same thing as 3 divided by 8, and that is equivalent to 375 thousandths. That's what this number is here, this decimal. Then we already have 25/100 in decimal form, easy to compare to the other decimals. And lastly, Marcus has done 95%. 95% is equivalent to 95/100. So that would be our decimal form. So now we have 4 decimal numbers that we can compare, and we want to put these in order from least to greatest. So we're going to do them by their name. So the least here is Carmen with 25/100, so she's going to go first. Then Alyssa has done 375 thousandths. If we're looking at that 10th place, that 2 is the least, right? And then next, the 3 in the 10th place. So Alyssa is next. Then again, we look at the 10th place still. We have a 5 in the 10th place and a 9 in the 10th place. David is going to come next, and then Marcus has done the most. So that would be our order from least to greatest for those rational numbers.